It's Michael Kozlowski here with GoodieReader.com. We're at Book Expo America 2012. We're here with Tom Mercer from 3M, and he's going to explain the 3M Cloud Library Lending Service, give you a little bit of an introspective on what it's all about and where they're going. So how are you enjoying Book Expo so far?
You know, we're having a great show. We announced our partnership with Smashwords today, and that puts our total title count over 200,000 titles in the cloud library from major publishers like Random House, HarperCollins, Harlequin. With Smashwords, Rowan Littlefield, and a partnership with Inscribe, we really got access to a lot of great content. So it's been a great show.
So how long in the future could we expect from the Smashwords announcement, and I know that you secured some other publishing companies. When can we see those books appear in the cloud database for 3M?
Usually takes about 90 days between when we announce a partnership to take all those titles, load them in, and start providing them to our libraries for use.
Okay, so just to give a little bit of a history to people that may not be too familiar with 3M's cloud library lending service, just explain briefly what it's all about.
So we launched this year. We started our beta in January. We exited beta in April, so there was 10 accounts, part of our beta project around the country. We now have 50 accounts that are going live with us. So each account is a library system, which can be up to 10 library branches or more.
So it all started with it was St. Paul. That was the first library that did it. What was the initial reaction to people using your Discovery terminals, which were basically touchscreen terminals that allowed people to really easily interact in a very intuitive fashion? What was the initial reaction to people that had just used that for the very first time?
You know, it's been a fantastic reaction. We've talked to librarians. It's right in front of the circulation desk, and they describe it as a magnet for patrons that want to come in and learn about it. They say, what's this Discovery terminal? It's great. They can check it out. They get on the system and they can use the cloud library. We actually had the reaction from patrons was fantastic. Somebody posted on their Facebook page, "Thank you so much. I love the cloud library. It was so easy, capital S-O, so easy to check out a book. I loved it. Thank you, St. Paul." So fantastic user reactions when you have unprompted Facebook posts like that.
Okay, so if I wanted to borrow a library book from a library that supported the 3M Cloud Library, what type of platform do you support? What type of devices do I need in order to read books?
You know, we have apps for iOS, so iPhone, iPad, Android devices, and then we have our own PC software application. So our PC application gets rid of Adobe Digital Editions. You can browse, check out, and read all from within the 3M PC application. And that application lets you transfer to your Nook, your Kobo, your Sony, any EPUB-compatible third-party e-reader you can load through the 3M Cloud Library PC software.
Okay, so it sounds like you guys are out of beta now, so it looks like that there are a number of libraries that are interested in your services. What does 2012, the rest of the year, hold in store, for your platform and ecosystem?
You know, we're expecting a lot of growth. We're getting 5, 10, or more accounts signed up every month, and we expect that to continue through the end of the year as libraries see others in their community launch it and have great success. You see one beta account launch it, say how great it is, and then you see 4, 5, or 6 other accounts in that same area start to get really interested because once the word's out and customer experience is great, libraries really want the best customer experience for their community, and the cloud library provides that.
One of the things that we've been hearing about in the industry and in the news is a lot of top 6 publishers are very resistant to the idea of libraries lending ebooks away for free. Most famously, libraries have pulled out of it altogether, and some impose restrictions on a certain number of books being lent out before you have to repurchase the book. What are your thoughts on all of this, on how the industry is responding to lending ebooks digitally?
You know, we've had conversations with all big 6 publishers. 2 are in, Random House and HarperCollins, and all the others are thinking about what would we have to do to enable this, right? Would we want to do a circulation limit? Do we want to have the high price model like Random House has? Or other things like an expiration model where maybe a book is owned for 2 years and then goes away. So I think they're exploring what their options are and thinking about it. I think there's commitment from all big 6 publishers that they want to do something with libraries. They value libraries as a valuable part of the reading ecosystem, but they just have to figure out what makes sense for their overall business.
And I think this is why companies, strategic partnerships with yourselves and Smashwords comes into play, because it adds almost 100,000 books instantly to your ecosystem that are very high quality. Smashwords themselves they're legends in the self-publishing field. They make it very easy, and you guys are one of the first big companies to facilitate digital library lending that have actually partnered with them. In terms of partnering with companies in the future, without talking about specific countries, is looking at other partnerships on your agenda going forward?
Absolutely. That's why we're at the show, to meet with all the publishers that aren't in the industry, talk about what we're doing, talk about what data we can share, and help them learn, hey, here's what's happening, here's what really happens in the library world, and what can we do to help you get in.
So right now, the 3M Cloud Library Lending Service is in the U.S. only at this point, I believe. What type of plans do you have to expand into Canada, which is where we're from? And there's a lot of demand for, Australia, New Zealand, the UK, other markets that are almost untapped, but there's a large demand, and people in those countries are pretty tech savvy.
Yeah, we definitely want to get to Canada. Our goal is to be there before the end of the year. We have beta accounts targeted in Canada that we'd like to work with. And 3M's a global company. We want to bring this across all of our subsidiaries and work. So it starts the process over. It starts with getting the content for that market and then launching the system. So we see great opportunities around the world as digital reading takes off.
So in the end, what can we expect from 3M? What type of things do you have up your sleeves, going forward, without giving anything too secretive away? But I mean, what are your plans, or how do you see library lending evolving over the course of 2012, 2013?
Right, we're big advocates of integrating tightly with library systems. We announced a partnership with Polaris, where you can really tightly integrate the 3M into the catalog. So a user can be in the Polaris catalog. They can find a book, they can check it out, and that book just appears in the 3M Cloud Library app. So we want to do that with all the major ILS partners and really integrate. Ebooks should be a part of the overall library experience and not an island, not a separate site. So really driving that integration of ebooks alongside physical content in their catalogs. That's where we want to push it. We're leading that effort with Polaris to show people, and we see a lot of that. Plus we see a lot more content. We're going to have some announcements later this year. I think there's going to be some great announcements in the publishing world before the end of the year.
So for people that aren't too familiar with Polaris, can you just briefly explain what that's all about?
Polaris is what's called an ILS system, or integrated library service, and that's what the catalog is, right? So as a patron, you see the catalog. That's where you search and check out physical books. So we'll tightly integrate ebooks into that experience as well. And then that runs all the back-end systems for the library. But as a patron, you see that library catalog, or the card catalog, which some people still call it as. That's what Polaris is, and there's other major companies that we're working with as well.
Okay, so one of the things that libraries that maybe have carried traditional books over the years, they may not know what the costs are involved with going digital. Obviously everything's tailored to specific libraries and content and the cost of books. But I mean, what are the advantages to libraries that have traditionally just been print to move more into the digital frontier?
The cost of a circulation, you pay for the content. There's a small platform fee, but you reduce transportation around the city, right? A lot of times interlibrary loans, someone reserves it here, they have trucks, they spend fuel, they have time putting things back on and off the shelf. So there's a lot of labor savings in digital experiences, and there's a lot of others. So that librarians are freed up to do more interesting things with their community, like talk about reading, reader recommendation, reader advisory. I mean, that's what libraries are about, educating and not doing manual labor like restocking shelves.
I find that it's a lot of that tedious labor that takes away from libraries. Libraries are their central core. I know a lot of people, single mothers, that take their kids to the library and have them read as a playtime, or they have reading groups, or they have maybe authors that come into the library. And I think that digital lending is really, it's not been around for too long, and it's more or less very new in the respects that people could actually borrow books for free. Now, if I want to borrow an ebook that from a 3M supported library, do I actually have to go to that library to check out an ebook, or can I do it in the comfort of my own home?
Right, so we have a model, browse anywhere, read anywhere. So you can check it out right from your iPad, you can go to the library and check it out on a PC or at a Discovery Station. So wherever you are, we want you to be able to check out that book. And then once the book's in your cloud-based account, you can read it across any of your devices, including bookmarking across your devices. So if you are at the doctor's office, you check out a book on your phone, you get home, you want to read on your iPad, you can bookmark and pick up on the page you left off, all using the 3M Cloud Library apps.
What about patrons that maybe don't have an iPad? Obviously, iPads, they're not within everybody's range of affordability. I know that you have an e-reader. How is that come into play in terms of patrons being able to check out actually a piece of technology?
Right, so we created the 3M e-reader designed specifically for library lending. So it's the first e-reader designed to be owned by a library and not owned by a consumer. So what we've done is we've removed, there's no Wi-Fi capabilities. It's a simple USB-only device. It's designed for someone to come into the library, find books they're looking for. They can go to a circulation desk, the librarian will plug this in, load those books, and a patron that has no internet access at home or no access to technology can check out an ebook and learn about e-reading experience, learn about ebooks, and it's a great way to promote digital literacy. No one should be left behind of what this trend is and understanding it. So it's a great way to reach everyone in a community independent of their financial means.
Yeah, and I agree because, iPad's very expensive and a lot of tablet devices, not everybody can afford them. And so with the ability, and what really differentiates yourself from the competition is allowing libraries to lend these out to their customers. So no matter what type of economic bracket you're in, you're not going to be limited. It's like checking out a real book. Rich or poor, you can walk in and check out a book, and this is in essence what you guys are allowing people, all walks of life, to be able to check out a book digitally.
Yeah, it's really about bridging that digital divide and making sure that that everyone in society understands technology and has access to technology, even if they don't have the financial means.
All right, so we're at Book Expo America 2012. We're here with Tom Mercer of 3M, and we just talked about the 3M Cloud Library Lending Service. Check it out. If your local library does not support it, you can advocate the 3M service for them. So everybody, take care.